Election day, it's just over 3 months away in New York City, and Mayor Bill de Blasio so far not facing any serious challengers, at least in his own party. He's also leading Republican candidate Nicole Malliotakis by 35 points, that according to the latest Quinnipiac poll. But another poll shows that voters aren't totally sold on him, and they're evenly divided on whether or not he deserves a second term. So Dom sat down with Ms. Malliotakis, who's now an assemblywoman from Staten Island. She made her case for why she ought to be the next mayor of New York City.
Assemblywoman Malliotakis, it is tough for a Republican to get elected citywide in New York City. You will probably respond with Rudy Giuliani and Michael Bloomberg. But in Giuliani's case, it took him 2 tries of running after being a successful U.S. attorney for the Southern District. And with Bloomberg, he had billions, and it even took Democrats destroying each other in the primary for Bloomberg to win. So how do you get this done?
Well, I think it's a combination of, we have seen that they will pull the lever, as you mentioned, for Republicans. They've done it 5 times before, and quite frankly, the city was better managed then under their leadership. And also the fact that under the current mayor, all the quality of life issues, transit, traffic, trash, education, homeless crisis, all these quality of life issues have deteriorated under the de Blasio administration. These are real things that New Yorkers are seeing, they're experiencing every single day as they go about their business in the city. And so I believe it is a combination of that we have very reasonable people in the city of New York that will pull a lever for a Republican. We have a mayor who has basically sent the message that he is trying to play them for fools, that they're just going to vote Democratic regardless of what he does this year. As you can see, he's basically sent out the message he doesn't care, and that he has mismanaged the city, and he has shown a complete lack of leadership when it comes to issues like our homeless crisis, when it comes to issues of affordable housing, when it comes to issues.
But Assemblywoman, polling shows de Blasio is running quite strong.
I don't think he's so strong in the polls. I think what we saw recently was a decline of 10 points over the last 2 months because of the way he has insulted the people of this city. You had a police officer that was assassinated. He's on the next flight to Germany. Earlier that same week, we had the homeless numbers come out showing a 40% increase in street population. The mayor's first campaign promises was about closing this tale of 2 cities. Meanwhile, he's done nothing in terms of lifting people out of poverty, giving them opportunity.
Assemblywoman Malliotakis, Mayor de Blasio has painted you as a Trump clone. De Blasio is going to tar you with Donald Trump.
Yeah, and it's very disingenuous because everyone knows that I was the state chairperson for Marco Rubio's campaign for president. That was my candidate. After he dropped out, I didn't endorse anyone else. And the issue here is if I've had the mayor's lousy record, I would be deflecting also. I would be trying to, of course, tie me to the guy who has 18% here in the city of New York. But the reality is, if you did a Google search, try finding where I've been very vocal or out there as the rallier of Donald Trump over the last few years. I mean, yes, I did vote for him at the end of the day, but I have not been as tied to him as is being portrayed. I think the issue here is that this election is not about Donald Trump, regardless about how much de Blasio is trying to make it about Donald Trump. It's about transit, traffic, and trash, and all the quality of life issues that have deteriorated. Aside from that, as a Republican, I'm in a better position to work with the Republicans in Washington. When something they're doing is hurting New York City, I can go and tell them about it. I can work with them to make those changes. I've been pushing for immigration reform. If something comes forward with these tax write-offs that they want to take away from New York, I will be the first one up there lobbying them. Our mayor has shown an inability to not only work with the Republicans in Washington, but he can't work with the governor of his own party. And as a result, the people of New York City are suffering.
But will Trump and the issue of Russia hurt Republican campaigns around the country just like yours?
Look, you know what? No one should be tied to another individual in their party. I think people, and I think it's fair for people to be judging me on what I'm offering, that I'm a better alternative to Bill de Blasio, that I'm a New York Republican who is very rational and reasonable and willing to work across party lines. I've done it in Albany. I work with my colleagues very well there, and I will have Democrats in my administration. And so we will have Democrats. We will have people of all, political, ethnic backgrounds. It's going to be a very, I think, an administration that reflects the city of New York and something that we could all be proud of.
We are here at the Women's National Republican Club. Are you ready to do what Hillary Clinton could not do on a national level and Chris Quinn could not achieve here in New York City? Are you ready to break, as a woman, that glass ceiling?
Well, I think, it certainly is an honor to be carrying the banner and running for mayor and being, the first Republican woman to be running. And I remember when Ruth Messenger ran against Rudy Giuliani, I was a little girl at that time. I remember the impact that had on me. Even though I loved Rudy, just seeing a woman running for the position was very inspiring. And for a city that is so progressive, to not have a first woman mayor, I mean, that's one of the biggest things we could be doing in terms of women's equality. But people shouldn't vote for me because I'm just a woman. I think people should vote for me because I'm the best candidate and I'm giving ideas and I'm ready and able and willing to change the course of this city, bring some real management to this city, address the quality of life issues that have deteriorated. And we can't continue to another 4 years with Bill de Blasio. I mean, this is an election year. Look how he's acting. I mean, he's going to Germany when we have all these major problems. He is not here mourning with the NYPD at a swearing-in ceremony following the assassination of a police officer. This is just unacceptable. We have a train crisis, and he is pointing the fingers to the governor instead of extending a hand and trying to work in partnership.
You are a Greek Latina daughter of immigrants. Is that an accurate way to describe you? And I understand that you speak Spanish, can speak Spanish on the campaign trail. Give me an example here.
Yo soy asambleísta estatal de Brooklyn and Staten Island. Yo quiero ser la primera alcaldesa latina aquí en Nueva York.
Okay, translate now what you just said.
I'm a state assembly member representing Brooklyn and Staten Island. I want to be the first mayor here in the city of New York. First
Greek,
Latin mayor here in the city of New York. And Greek, too. I would be the first.
Greek and Latino.
First female, first Greek, first Latina. And you know what? I'm very proud of my roots. I think my parents both come from cultures that are very unique. I was well fed growing up, I'll tell you that much. But also the work ethic that has been instilled in me is pretty amazing. And it's what, my mother comes from a communist country, from Cuba. She fled a dictatorship, and it's really one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about democracy and the ability to elect our leaders. And when they're not doing a good job, they should be voted out.
The biggest issue facing New York City and your solution for it?
The biggest issue is the transit crisis, followed by homelessness, but there are so many other issues with bureaucracy. To focus on those two issues, number one, I want to extend a hand to the governor, work with him in partnership for not only to fund the transit, to upgrade our subway signals, which every city from London, Paris, Vancouver, San Francisco have done. We need to do it too. We can't keep playing this blame game. We'll work together to achieve that. With the homeless crisis, I've put out a 15-point plan on my website, NicoleForMayor2017.com.
What's the first thing you do if you are elected mayor?
First thing I do is go through this budget and see where is all this money going, because we've increased spending 22% in this city under this mayor, and yet everything has gotten worse.
We should note that Don reached out to Mayor de Blasio's office for its response to what she had to say. It released a statement praising his own record. I'm quoting now. Mayor Bill de Blasio expanded pre-K for every 4-year-old and will do the same for every 3-year-old. Crime at historic lows, jobs at a record high. New York City building affordable housing at a record pace, and rents were frozen for more than 2 million tenants. That is the mayor's record, and it is one that New Yorkers are rallying around, end quote. All right, coming up next, we move away from politics and instead take a closer look at history and the incredible history of Mount Beacon. It includes George Washington, plane crashes, and military heroes. We're going to speak with a local author who documents it all.